Ready?
My whole life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday, June 22nd. I hope everybody's doing well. You opened up your apps this morning, and I could only imagine the little pit in your stomach when you saw the price, especially when Bitcoin went below 30. So we're going to discuss that today. But first, we got to talk about something that's really cool. So we're doing a $10,000 giveaway to 4 winners. Grand prize is $5,000. Another one's $3,000. Couple $1,000 prizes for members of Trade the Chain and new members who sign up before Sunday midnight or 11:59. All that's in the description. But we're just trying to prop up some portfolios and grow our community at the same time. So please, it's easy. Join us. Give a little heads up on this. This is where it is. You can just go on over to academy.tradethechain.com and see all the rules and eligibility, but they're really easy. And then give us a try. Oof, down to 1.23 trillion.
Ooh.
That's $1 trillion less than we were 6 weeks ago.
I guess it's good. At least Bitcoin's above 30 again, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, all honesty, I think in my mind, I feel like we hit the bottom. I really do. I'm gonna wait for some confirmation knowledge from CJ and see what he has to say. But you can see right here, sentiment in the red, price in the blue. You got price rising today on the 1 day, and we'll see if sentiment follows. So big day. Don't forget our giveaway. Head over to academy.tradethechain.com. Ryan, CJ, take it away, folks.
Yeah, buddy. So good to be back. I'm so happy I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah, welcome back, by the way. I forgot to say that. That was rude of me.
Yes, very rude. Trade the Chain is all content, rather, provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice. And besides, you shouldn't be listening to us anyway. Just don't do it, ever. Now we can do the plugs. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global community of traders across 23 time zones of all backgrounds, all ages, all abilities, all skill levels, and all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market, or at least try to limit the downside on days like today. If you too want to trade like a crypto insider, head on over to TradeTheChain.com, check us out, and maybe you'll win $5,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 or $1,000, whatever we're giving away. CJ?
And then marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty, who has the day off, and myself at Market Rebellion in our community. And with us, you get exclusive trade ideas, entries, exits, and stop losses on a weekly basis, as well as access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a crypto trading education curriculum, and a community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you go to marketrebellion.com/crypto, you can try the first month subscription for just $1. And so we appreciate that, guys. We're working on a mobile app for Android. We already have got one up for Apple users, but we appreciate that. And going over to the Trade the Chain dashboard, really neutral all across the hourly sentiment now that we've had that little dead cat bounce all the way from like 29 to 32K. Still remaining long-term bullish. That's interesting to see. We really haven't had much shake in terms of a long-term bullish sentiments. I'm curious to see what is negative on sentiments. Electronium. Wow, I remember that ICO. Did you guys ever buy any of that?
Did not.
Wow. I didn't buy it, but I remember it. That's okay.
That was, yeah. I remember that was supposed to be like one of the next big things. Aave, that's interesting, considering how bullish that project is and how we actually are very favorable to those fundamentals. But regardless of the dashboard, sign up for Trade the Chain and you can look at it all you'd like. But gentlemen, Ryan, welcome back. Glad to see you're feeling better.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to say to start the show here today?
Just that I'm happy I'm not filled with fever and cold medicine anymore. Life is good.
Well, I mean, where's Monty? Did he have to go get a job?
Monty was permanently liquidated this morning.
Oh, we're just joking, by the way, on that. Yeah, Monty is off today, but hopefully we'll have him back in action tomorrow. So, hey, CJ, before we get started, real quick, you have a sentimental couch that's being delivered today. Can you describe it, please?
Describe the couch I'm getting?
Describe the couch.
It's was in my parents' home for a long time. It's the couch that we would sit on and open Christmas presents and stuff when I was a kid, and I need a couch for this apartment. So my dad's moving out of his old place, and the couch is being delivered in about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So let's try to get this
get started.
Here.
Dive right into it.
Okay. So let's talk about Bitcoin, and let's start on the 1 hour chart here, because I like what I see. I just wanted to highlight this TD by 9 that we've bounced off. That was really when we fell to the bottom, 28, and then we really got buy pressure come in at the short term and have now, going back above that 20 smooth moving average. So we'll have to see how things shake out, but ultimately that 1 hour 9 really proved to be the turning point in the short term. Let's talk about the daily chart because it's pretty interesting, and I think it's really what is on pretty much everybody's mind in the short term. So Alex said he thinks a potential bottom is in earlier. I think it's a little too early to say, although it does feel like it. And the thing about calling the perfect top or calling the perfect bottom, it gets a lot of likes. It gets a lot of attention, but any disciplined technical analyst knows that it involves a lot of luck to call the perfect bottom or sell the perfect top. And so what I'm interested in is, confirming that we have the bottom. So what would confirm to me if we had a bottom in price? Well, I think that the most important level here when it comes to overhead resistance is where we have volume spiking close to price. This is just a massive area of confluence when it comes to numerous resistance levels. We have the 20 smooth moving average. We have 36 to roughly 35. That is going to be some of the most crucial resistance going forward now. However, I think we can officially call the bottom once we break above that level, form supports, and this area experiences a role reversal from formerly resistance to now new support. However, that has yet to happen. And we could go lower in the short term and present potentially better buying opportunities. We've had a lot of individuals talk about this bear flag that kind of goes down. I feel like we've already kind of broken down from that. And sure, we could have a possibility of going to, say, 26 or 25K. I don't know how likely that is given this current bullish hammer candle. I think we're going to bounce in the short term and potentially test up to that resistance level. And that's the key. If we get rejected off of that resistance level at about 36K, I think there's a high likelihood that we break down and go to, say, the 24s or 25s. And that, in my mind, would be the closest and most likely point, not the most likely point, but the most likely point if we break down from resistance. I'm saying 24 to 26 will probably be the bottom. I love accumulating at current price level. I think any Bitcoin that I can buy below 30,000 in the long term is going to turn out to be a very fruitful investment. But the short term and calling a bottom, I think, is still rather difficult in the short term. But there's a couple of potential things we can plan for. On the weekly chart here, last thing I'll focus on before passing it off. This is kind of overlaying 2013 and 2014 to our current price trajectory. And I just think that we could really be range bound here till the end of August, possibly September, and just short-term traders getting chopped apart and like piranhas, just tearing them apart bit by bit as, we have this like rough consolidation. Maybe we do break down and go even further lower in the coming weeks. It's uncertain as of now, and it's tough to place an actionable trade for the literal short term. So that's kind of the last thing I'll say before passing it back.
You paint such a rosy picture. My God. It makes me want to just buy more and stack, right? Like we could get chopped down to 24. But, a lot of the traders that I've spoken to today, the hedge fund managers that I speak to on a daily basis, they're largely in agreement with that. They think that the support lies at 25. And when you look back to where a lot of corporations got in, where a lot of big institutions got in, asset managers, they got in between 20 and 25,000, right? So I think ultimately that's where the support lies. So I think that there's a lot to that. I'd be shocked if we drop below 20,000. It's not impossible. Anything's impossible. Negative. But I just don't see that happening.
No. If we were to look at the actual technical levels, 20K or 19K was obviously the top of the 2017 bull market. That level is going to be very extraordinary support as well. But to your point, Ryan, MicroStrategy's average price is 26,000. I know you wanted to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, might as well get it out of the way now, Ryan.
I wasn't teeing that up. I was happy to, let that dog lie for a little while, but I wrote an article this morning that was published in City AM, one of the largest newspapers in London. And the whole, the whole idea behind that article is that MicroStrategy has, in essence, become a de facto central bank for Bitcoin. And I know a lot of people are thinking, wow, that's insane. Bitcoin doesn't have a central bank. But think about it. They keep injecting capital from their balance sheet into the market to prop up the price of Bitcoin, not dissimilar to the way that the Fed has done in the equities markets, right? And when they were doing it with cash, there were a lot of doubters, a lot of naysayers, but it really kind of worked out for them. So a lot of that kind of went away, and people said, well, maybe Michael Saylor's onto something. Even I started to waver. But then they start issuing debt. And when you're issuing debt, you're not doing anything different than what the Fed is doing. So then you have a whole cohort of people who are online, who are Bitcoin maxis, who on one hand will happily tweet out money printer go burr memes until the end of time. But then Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, he does the same exact thing. He issues debt to prop up the price of an asset artificially because of where his cost basis is, and they cheer him on like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just don't understand the disconnect. I don't understand how a group of people so opposed to one entity doing it can be so in favor of another doing it, except for the fact that it aligns with their ideology and their goals, and it directly benefits them, and they can take part in that wealth creation. So I think, looking at MicroStrategy through that lens isn't unreasonable. I'm just wondering, the perils of a publicly traded company undertaking such actions and becoming that type of entity in a largely unregulated financial market. I think, there's a lot. I have a lot of concerns about MicroStrategy's long-term financial viability.
I think that we crossed that line a little bit ago. To be honest with you, I'm not sure there's pulling back off that ledge. It's almost. Listen, yeah, he take a leap. Everybody thinks he's great, and that's great. Trade worked out for him, but I think it's a irrationally long position, and I'm not sure that you can put that monster back in the bag at this point.
Well, also, if you look at Michael Saylor's performance as a CEO for the couple decades before they bought Bitcoin, I mean, middling is a word that comes to mind. The stock was just range bound like Bitcoin in a summer trading session. Like, it didn't do anything. It didn't go anywhere. No one cared about MicroStrategy. He had no real followers or interactions or engagement on social media. And now all of a sudden he's like the crypto messiah, and everyone's like rushing to him. The guy somehow turned himself from being one of the worst performing CEOs on Wall Street into a quasi celebrity. I mean, let's not even call into question his spending habits that we've talked about in the past with the company treasury, right? I mean, it's just, the whole thing just is very clearly transparent and bizarre.
So let's take a look at where BTC is today and what they've done up until this point. I mean, if we're going to call them a quasi-central bank, is there anything that they can do? I mean, the Fed has a tool belt, right? That's how they They monitor and look over the economy. So is there anything MicroStrategy can do to help the Bitcoin economy?
Yeah, issue more debt and buy more Bitcoin. Same thing the Fed did. Every time the market starts to suffer a little, they issue more debt and they buy more equities, or they buy more treasuries, or they buy more corporate debt.
Well,
just curious here. MicroStrategy owns 105,000 Bitcoins.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what's that come to, like 5 billion, 50 billion?
No, it's like 35 billion, give or take, right? 3.5 billion.
3.5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they own like half of the total supply of Bitcoin, or half of 1% of the total circulating supply.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even if they're buying, it's not working. Like the Fed lowers rates, the Fed prints money. Obviously, the stock market rallies. That's not happening in the case of MicroStrategy. And to say that like they're inflating it, like you can't inflate Bitcoin. It's a fixed supply asset, so it's not really the same comparison as the Fed. I love Michael Saylor. I mean, he's clearly made a binary outcome bet where his company will fail if Bitcoin fails, but he sees an innovation and he sees an opportunity to take advantage of it and dominate his sector. If he comes out on top with this bet, they're going to have so much free capital that it doesn't even matter what they do. They can just go acquire all of their business intelligence competitors and be a dominant of their business space. So in that case, if he's right, he'll be one of the best CEOs performing on Wall Street.
I agree with you on that.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Very big binary risk.
I don't think that I don't disagree with that at all, but I think that when looking at what MicroStrategy's role has become and how the company has changed, when's the last time anyone talked about what they do besides buy Bitcoin? Do they even do any of that anymore? Right? Like no one talks about that. That's not in the news. They're a Bitcoin company. That's what they are.
Does it matter though, Ryan? That's not the point.
No, it doesn't matter. And that is kind of the point though. I mean, I disagree with you on that. I think it is kind of the point, right? Because they've stopped doing everything that they're doing. So why, if no one talks about it, no one cares what they do, why would they use that free cash to buy up all their competitors and become the dominant player in the business intelligence world? You know what? I'm not going to go there, but just look at Michael Saylor's history as a CEO and how company treasury has been spent. And you can pretty much guarantee what's going to happen. It's kind of predictable.
Okay.
Well, I think MicroStrategy is going to be fine, but Bitcoin will be the determinant of that. One thing that I see in the chat that I kind of neglected to mention in my analysis that I would like to is the DXY, or the dollar currency index, and it's been very strong, and it's been very difficult for Bitcoin to rally in the midst of that strength. But we're starting to see a bit of a top formation in the DXY in the short term. So let's check out the weekly perspective, because we had a massive surge last week. I mean, ever since really the past 4 weeks since we've bottomed on this DXY, it's been rough for not only equities, but also but also crypto. Now that equities have begun to rally at the start of this week, the dollar is starting to become a little less strong. And so typically, like Bitcoin dominance, this is kind of an inverse metric in terms of the overall market. So from a bullish perspective, we would ideally like to see this going down. And the fact that we actually put in a lower high here is pretty promising, at least from the technical perspective, ignoring the fundamentals for the time being.
I'd like to share something that's very exciting to me. And that is, if I could find it.
So exciting you can't find it.
I'm so excited. Here it is. Here it is. I got it. Hang on. With all of this going on, now I'm I'm 50% hodler, 50% trader. I'll be honest with the crew. Yesterday, I moved into a large stablecoin position out of basically de-risking portfolio. I thought we would actually take a big dump in the early overnight hours, and we did. So I'm happy we did that. But here's a position that I took that CJ knows very well, just over a year ago. And that is, and look at this, is a resurgence. This is a double levered UCO WTI double levered crude oil shares. And this thing has just kept the portfolio afloat. COVID restrictions are opening up, getting a little fuel consumption going with the worldwide people. So, it's all about diversification.
So
I like it.
are you telling me to buy that, Alex? Is that what you're
I think
saying?
it might be too late.
You should have bought. You should have bought it last year when I called up Jerry and said, "Dude, do you think this is a good buy?" And I just went head first into it, man, and just let it sit for a little over a year.
It's a nice trade, Alex. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm up 100 and something percent.
Well done.
So what else? What else? I mean, any interesting prospects that haven't popped yet that you want to talk about?
I will say that I did move out of traditional equity positions. I really, I was in for about 14 months after March's crash. And we went through our portfolio review, CJ, I believe maybe beginning of this year. But I was in a lot of hospitality, obviously a little energy, and transportation. So I had a couple airlines, a couple of hotels and resorts, and they did phenomenal. I mean, MGM, I think I sold out of that position about a month ago. I would say up 140 something percent. I'll have to look at my P&L, but yeah.
How are those airlines doing? Because I mean, you'd think with the rebound in airline travel, they'd be soaring.
Well, I sold out of them a couple months ago as well. I felt like I had got my time. They were my bottom performers, and I averaged about 62% return on them for the year. So,
Very nice.
Yeah, not so bad.
You're telling me about the winners, man. Tell me about something I should buy today.
You want to know what? You want to know what my one equity loser? My one equity loser.
I don't.
No, hold on a second. My one. I don't want to just tell the winners. I want to tell the losers too. That's how we do it in the community. We share all stories. My one equity loser over the last 14 months is freaking coin.
Of course it is. I told you before the IPO that it would go down. I told you it would Facebook.
I had 100% batting average for 14 months.
Dude, you heard it. I'm no expert, but it was obvious it was going to go down.
Dog with fleas. And forget it. I don't even want to talk about it and get upset.
I don't know if it was obvious. Like, there was a lot of really smart people buying it. Kathy Wood was loading up. I mean, she probably.
Yeah, Kathy Wood's gotten blown out of the water this year, though.
And it's like, when you think about it, Coinbase is still going to be very bullish long term. They're making boatloads of money on this volatility. Sure. And, they just need Bitcoin to survive and trade with high volume in order to be profitable. So, yeah, they're correlated to Bitcoin in the crypto market in the short term, but the long term, like, this is going to be a very profitable stock, in my opinion.
Sure, absolutely. And I never thought that Facebook wouldn't be profitable in the long term, but that doesn't mean I have to ride it down now. Just buy it later this year in the fall. Towards the end of the summer, I'll pick some up and see what happens. But I'm not going to ride it down for the whole summer.
It'll be interesting to see how it reacts when Kraken finally decides to go public, which I am presuming is going to be in 2022 at some point.
Wouldn't surprise me. Does anyone care about ETH? No one.
Well, it hit the 1800 mark. It's down.
It's a shame Monty's not here, because he really was pretty spot on with that price target. It has so much to do, in my opinion, with ETH options expiration. Once that's over with, I think it's going to be a much safer environment to actually buy ETH. So I'll watch for that in the next coming days, and maybe even buy off a bounce of that 200 period moving average on the daily. So.
Yeah, I mean, folks, for those expirations, look out for those. Those are coming on the 25th. So yeah, definitely check those out. But yeah, both Monty and Nick Mancini were calling 1800s, and it went to the 1800s today. And people were yelling at them since they started doing that a couple of weeks ago. They're like, "Oh, look at these fools! Look at these fools!" But between the expirations and the broken market support, it got there no problem. So
absolutely, no, they nailed that. And that's probably why Nick was quoted in Bloomberg today, whereas the other people are just the peanut gallery, right? Nick knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing.
Hey, based on that ARC comment, It says that their 1-year return is 138% in Kathy Wood's fund. So they're still doing fine, man. I mean,
Not all the funds though. Like, which fund is that? Is that RK?
Well, no, they've also bought, and so they've also gone in and out of positions in like Tesla and stuff like that. So they've made money with their various entry point arbitrages.
No, I have no issue with Kathy Wood. I think she's a
I
brilliant
think she's
investor.
great.
I just disagreed with her on Coinbase.
all right, let's move on.
What color is the couch?
It's kind of like yellowish gold. It's kind of like a French styled.
Ooh.
Is it going to be like a throne?
Really nice. It's my like I said, I'm not buying it. It's a kind of a hand-me-down for my parents. But Zero had a very interesting announcement yesterday. Do you guys want to discuss that at all?
Sure, pull it up.
Sounds like they were hinting at a potential airdrop for existing Zero holders, which would be very nice if they improve kind of the tokenomics behind the cryptocurrency. But just give me a moment. I'm going to navigate to their Twitter and pull up that announcement.
While he does that, folks, while he looks it up, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you don't subscribe, and look down in the description for our $10,000 giveaway.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to do the shilling advertisement YouTube stuff all in one yet. I got to practice.
So just for disclosures, everyone here has Zero, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And for an even fuller disclosure, so people know, I have Zero above 0.25. 0.25.
So essentially a rebranding to Relay to attempt to connect more chains. Obviously Avalanche, Matic, Binance, many others. But it seems like there's going to be a much more tokens given away after this airdrop to those who hold Zero currently. Anything, have we seen anything similar? Have you guys seen anything similar like this before in the past that you've participated in?
The closest to it as I can say is when Stani did the Aave Lend swap back in the fall of last year.
And how did that work out?
It worked out terrific. I mean, it basically back then Aave Lend was around $60 or less, and the community took to it very well. It was a successful meld. And then the next closest thing I can remember is the whole Ryan participated in it. That XRP, what was that? Spark drop?
Flare.
Oh, yeah.
Flare,
Later almost, and we're still wondering when Spark tokens are ever going to show up.
Well, it looks like the nuke tokens are going to be called Relay, which is definitely better from a marketing perspective. I've had so many people say to me, "Oh, Zero is going to zero," and it's like, I don't think it is, but it looks like they're changing the name to Relay.
So the folks know what a relay is, because this is actually it's a little play on words here. So when you go across chain, you need to actually there's an audit process that goes on, and those are called relayers. And relayers are often anonymous. I believe there's one public one on Zero and two anonymous ones that audit the transaction as it goes across. So just wanted to give people a little clarity on why the relay name.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification, Alex. Appreciate it.
I read it on a Snapple top bottle.
Yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot of info. I mean, you can go on Zero's Medium and kind of read what they've got listed in the roadmap, but we will keep you updated to the developments of that airdrop, because I'm excited to get some relay tokens.
Same.
Also, Huobi, they integrated and partnered with Huobi's new chain. So Huobi has a whole new chain, just like AVAX, Polygon, its own thing. And now that's part of the big deal too. So that's now on the platform.
Very nice. So you can swap between Binance Chain, Huobi, all those guys. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's all coming. Dot's coming. So
very nice. Those guys have built a tight little platform there. I like it a lot.
Yeah, they have. So it's been doing good. All right. What else we got? Anything? Is anybody seeing any opportunities? Also, if anybody in the chat, if you guys are seeing any opportunities, drop it in. Tell us what you think looks good. I know everybody is dipped out from buying all the dips, but if you had some dry powder, what would you go into now where the market is? And also, do you think we bottomed?
Sorry, Ralphie. I don't know when the XRP token airdrop is taking place. I'm on the sidelines just like everyone else.
So one last thing before we head out, Ryan, you think we bottomed this morning?
No, I think we go down to the 25K support level probably.
Is this gonna wait, dude? If 2 months from now, when we do guesstimates for Bitcoin at the end of the year, and you say 15.5, I'm gonna freaking smack somebody.
We're gonna do that from your place, so I can say it right to your face, like look you in the eyes and just say 15.5.
CJ,
I don't think many new viewers get that reference. That was like first few months we were doing shows, but interesting stuff there.
That was Ryan's call for the end of the year Bitcoin price, 15.5 last year.
And I was right.
CJ, what you think? You think we hit bottom this morning?
This is the way I see it. I definitely see the merit in going down to 25K and the potential of that. But when you look at the sentiment on social media, you have something like hashtag crypto crash, trending. You have Grant Cardone kind of dissing crypto and making fun of it. And
good for Grant.
You have Jim Cramer calling for like 15K, I think it was. So when you get all of that negative sentiment, it's almost like the inverse of the top. When we were watching Shiba Inu and all of these worthless meme coins go absolutely parabolic. But now, thank you, Alex, you have just such atrocious sentiment in the space that it gets to a point where how depressed can this market become? Like, we're going to have reaction rallies at some point. This is kind of the period of the market when we get to be the most volatile. So overall, I think it is a little too early to call a bottom. Nonetheless, I think we're getting close in terms of sentiment, and I think we will find one in the next 4 to 5 weeks. But I think we're just going to be range bound until then.
You know what's important, though, to remember, right? So Bitcoin was all the way up 60K, whatever, right? And we're down in the low 30s, and we may go down to 25K. Before this year, Bitcoin had never bottomed out at 25K. Had never bottomed out at 30K. So it's still a pattern of higher lows and higher highs. So the long-term bullish thesis is still there, right? It's just we've hit a real rough patch this past month. So it's not anything to worry about just yet. We're still continuing that pattern. It's just more drawn out.
Yeah, and the Michael Saylor debacle, I mean, it didn't even support it one bit. We fell right through it. They own it for around 37, I believe, is what I saw. Okay, so that's interesting. CJ, I'll start with CJ in the second half of this question. I love there's a little comment in there about you being a politician, just FYI. I'll start with the second question I have, because viewers always want to hear us say it, is that are we done as the bull run ended?
I don't think so. I still think we're going to finish the year above 100K. Tom Lee spoke a lot about this as well today earlier and pretty much said the exact same thing. Wow, Keith in the comments, that was really quick. He already put Tom Lee, 100K Bitcoin.
I don't think that's going to happen.
So, I know the on-chain analysts are taking a lot of heat right now because it's not really playing out per se how some have kind of characterized it. When you look at new users coming on the network and things of that sort, I think we're going to find a bottom in the next 4 to 5 weeks here, but it's just we're at a very uncertain time right now.
Ryan, has the bull run ended?
No, I don't think so. I think we've just hit a bit of sell pressure, profit taking, and shaking out of irrationally long positions. but I do think that the bull run does resume after that the period of just kind of sideways range bound trading that CJ was talking about at the top of the show, because that's par for the course for the summer for equities, for commodities for the most part, and for crypto. It's how assets trade at this time of year, especially when you have people who've been locked up for a year. All of a sudden they're out and they're about and they can do things. Cities and states are reopening. They're going to have other priorities than just sitting in front of the terminal maniacally trading crypto or maniacally trading equities. They want to get out and get some sunshine, right? So they're not, it's just the markets aren't going to be as active as they normally would be in the summer. And in the summer, they're far less active than they are any other time of year. So I think,
folks, there's nothing more important, okay? There's nothing more important. Don't get that sun. Don't go see your friends. Buy some damn crypto.
Okay. I'll be on the beach. And so will you, because you live next to it.
Ryan, you bring up a good point, because I don't think many folks understand the fact that the COVID restrictions globally and how much I believe that they helped with the markets and reach these heights in the bull run, because we were all confined. And there was a lot of people's utmost attention paid to their screen. So it was like, hey, I can't go over to Ryan's house and play in the backyard. I'm just going to sit home and watch crypto. And I think that accelerated it. I think it definitely contributed to the market that we had up until about 6.5 weeks ago.
And you'll notice that's exactly when the lockdowns lifted, right? So it wasn't just crypto, it was also equities.
All right.
Look at what happened in equities.
Continue lockdowns then on my Twitter.
It was such, it's such a simple premise, but it was so entirely accurate. And I think you guys are 100% right in what you characterize the market going forward. It's like, I have friends who have never traded before, who now trade every single day on Robinhood because they were brought in because of external factors in crypto, or external factors pushing people indoors and things of that sort, and forcing them to find new hobbies. And trading has become an American pastime once again, similar to like 1998. But I think you're also absolutely right when you talk about people getting out this summer and the openings and COVID. Like, it's very overwhelming. We've all been like very depraved from human interaction and psychological interaction. And so obviously people are going to go out there and experience that, and it's going to take them out of their screens. But when the kids go back to school and when work comes back and we start getting into the fall, I think that's when we start picking up in speculation and people really start putting money back into crypto. It's just, I think it's going to be really boring up until then. So we'll see.
All right.
Can I put one thing before we close up today? Because I do want to provide something for the viewers, hopefully, and that is opportunities. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but do you guys see any type of opportunities right now in the market, and are you making any like critical decisions right now?
Like I said, yes. Like I said earlier, yesterday I de-risked a lot of positions into stable coins, not the ones I'm hodling, but I'll name one that I'm keeping an eye on very carefully, that I've kept an eye on throughout the early morning hours, and that's ADA, Cardano. I believe that it actually retraced to such an attractive price level that it's one that I'm looking at it extensively and seeing if, depending on how the market plays out for the remainder of the week, adding to that position.
I'm holding that long term. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting when we begin the bull markets, or like when we started our bull market, our initial ascent past 20, 30K, the alts hadn't done much relative to Bitcoin. It was leading the way. Bitcoin dominance was thriving. And then we saw an explosion of alts once retail capital came back into the space. So it's going to be interesting to see now that we are, let's say hypothetically, we did bottom this morning. It'll be interesting to see if Bitcoin really is the only thing to lead the charge, or if ETH or others actually outperform Bitcoin with a positive market. Because, then the optimal choice is to first put your capital in Bitcoin. Once the market starts to recover and Bitcoin starts to have profits, I take those profits and put them into things like ADA and ETH and things that are much further down on the totem pole, Luna, Uniswap. These are all things that I want to participate in. I might even load up on Doge again.
Oh my gosh.
Not that I ever bought it to begin with, but I'm seriously considering it because like George Soros was very brilliant at this one concept. And it's when your neighbor tells you to buy something, just go in with both hands. Just make sure you get out before the top. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
You're not. I'll launch 3 more darts into my closet door in Philly just so I can buy more Doge.
I mean, take a look. Just CJ, one thing, I'll tell you one thing that I do that's against one of the people that you famously quote a lot. What's his name? Whitmore. One of his quotes. Livermore. Thank you.
Close.
One of his quotes is don't buy stocks at their bottom or after they.
That one is Baron Rothschild.
Well, someone tweeted that the other day and wrongly attributed it. Anyway, forget what I was saying, but this is what I like to do. So one of the things that you take a look at this,
guys, I gotta go. My couch.
Your couch is there.
All right. Well, good luck with the couch. Bon chance.
Hello.
So one of the things that I like to do is you look at this dailies. You look at the 24-hour change right here, and you look at the bottom half, and you go down to a couple of these guys. Theta. Look at T Fuel.
So you're trying to time the bottom on that? That feels to me like trying to catch a falling knife, right? I'd rather let it rebound a little.
That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm talking about what I feel is good. Some collective projects that I enjoy being discounted this much. T Fuel, I do like that. I like also. We have Polka Starter. I like Polka Starter being having a 15% clip right now.
I actually like that too. That's nice. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I'm out of here. Just want to give the people kind of.
Well, we're gonna end the show anyway. Okay. We gotta go. The market's crazy and all that good stuff. So everybody, real quickly, don't forget, enter our $10,000 giveaway. Everything's in description. Head over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. Check it out. Tradethechain.com. And yeah, that's about it. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, don't forget, Cent Token. We had a listing postponed from last week. Cent Token's listing on Bitcoin.com exchange tomorrow. Tomorrow. First centralized exchange listing in a list of long ones. So everybody take it easy, hang on to your handlebars, and we will see you tomorrow.